why does it take so long? And when you understand like what was implanted, you got one good parent, one bad parent, and an evil stepmonster that was alienated for 40 years. And no kid has ever grown up to prove their own alienation.
It's Kevin here. Hi, thank you so much for coming here. I just don't know how best to describe the guests that I've got, and it's a strange thing saying guest. It's starting to be an interview thing here on this channel. I've got Lisa Goodpaster. How the heck does that happen? Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's just a pleasure to talk to you again and be able to help your audience and anyone else that's listening because we got big jobs.
Anybody who doesn't know what Lisa Goodpaster is famous for, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to read it off the phone. Okay, so Lisa wrote a book, and I'm going to tell you tiny little bit about why this book's so important. And the book's called Alienated: When Parents Don't Want, When Parents Won't Parent. Okay, and the foreword was written by Bill Burnett. Do you think you'll mind if I read that out? The
No,
foreword?
not at all. Yeah, please
Okay,
do.
so William Burnett, Bill Burnett says Miss Goodpaster survived a horrifying childhood and gradually, as an adult, through healthy relationships and intensive psychotherapy, came to understand and achieve some distance from the terrible time of her early life. Now she generously shares what she's learned about marriage, divorce, parents, step parents, and other topics through this book. What we're talking about is being an alienated child and being, as we are now, a very alienated adult child. That's where we're at. And how the Gen Xers or the OGs, you said OGs, what did that stand for again?
Old old gals, old girls, old guys.
The
We're
old
the
girls and the old guys. That's right. That's
uh-huh,
us now. We're getting there now.
we're the OGs
And
of
that's it. We're the OGs. And
yeah.
nobody speaks about us. And the thing is, it's like folks are starting to talk about parental alienation as though it's some kind of, I wouldn't say a new thing, but like there's going to be an epidemic, but there already has been. And we're the ones who are on the other side of it now, and we're trying to still deal with it. So it was Marianne Petrie that put Lisa in touch, and we got in contact with each other. And last week we had a good chat. So now this is like, let's record and let's talk about some stuff. And when I first just said earlier on how are you doing, and let's go back to that. How are you doing in life generally?
Think I'm doing pretty well considering uh, where I landed. I
Yeah.
can tell you that it's like Dr. Burnett said, it takes time and space. Um, for your audience, I was alienated for 40 years. I was 7. And so I had said last week that it's like, think of it like if I was a recovering alcoholic or something. I'm like 9 years sober from the alienation. So uh, there are times when I will recognize or I'll be able to still put the puzzle pieces together sometimes. Like there's always, it's always, it never stop learning.
What are we learning about?
Uh, how to navigate and how to be okay and with what happened and how to move through it. Um, I talk a lot about this in my book, but uh, I think the first chapter is it's called "Welcome to the Jungle"
Yeah,
because
sure enough it is. Yeah, Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Remember when that came
mhm.
out too in the 80s? It's like, who is this? Remember that?
Right.
What the
Oh, yeah.
bloody hell is
Oh,
that?
right. That was
Yeah.
that was my young childhood to yeah, there's so many songs that I could relate to. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mhm.
You've had a absolutely intense, horrific childhood, and you managed to, I don't know about figure it out, but you discovered some stuff that was going on and the impact of what you discovered. Um, Tell me about the CDC.
for the longest time, I don't think I was ready to accept. I was always searching, like, what's going on. I thought I just had a bad relationship, a bad mom. Um, when we found out that what had happened, uh, I was always in and out of therapy, always curious, like, why do I feel this way?
Right.
Because alienation isn't in the DSM. Therapist back in the day is like, is there a chance you could have been brainwashed? Like that was not it. It was this was unprecedented. This had never happened
Right.
before.
Right.
So because it never happened before, I wanted to double check because even my therapist at the time was like, holy hell, like what the hell happened to you? So we
Yeah.
called the CDC. They did a nationwide search all over. No kid has ever grown up to prove their own alienation. And it was because my alienator uh, typed up a manifesto that she used to rewrite my history. And I was 7 when the alienation started. So that was written when I was at least 10.
I
It was
read the book, and just for everybody out there watching this now, you got to pick the book up. It's like we were just saying, it's like reading Misery, reading a Stephen King novel, and but the thing is real. And reading through, basically, what I was reading was the imagination, the mindset of a very, very, very sick individual who was your stepmother, who
yeah.
was writing all of these things down, maybe not intentionally intending for you to read them, but you did read them. So this was her writing them down somehow for her own benefit. I don't know.
I think she knew because things that I think some of these alienators, uh, they lie so much they believe it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so because it took 40 years and parents always want to know why does it take so long? And when you understand like what was implanted
Mhm.
and then all the all the ways that it seeps in, like I had shared, like, my stepmom started at my birth. So she very much thought about it. She was when you think about a a psychopath, they kill animals, they kill with they have a fascination, like she says that she basically wanted me to kill my mom with a pillow, and she said I was a an evil angry baby and I would kick my mom in the belly. And I shared this last week with
Mhm.
Kevin that uh when I would see my mom's belly and there were stretch marks there, I just thought, ooh, that's when I used to kick her.
Mhm.
You just like you hold it in because you're a kid, you don't know. And you're Gen Xer as well, so we had to stay outside till, I mean, I couch surfed. All
Yeah.
the kids went home, and I'm like, not I was at a really unhealthy relationship with my dad. I loved him, but I just didn't know as a kid. So I was
Right.
I had a dysfunctional attachment, an insecure attachment to my dad.
Right.
And I was told that he was the only parent that loved me. It's there in the book, just exactly like what, you got one good parent, one bad parent,
Mhm.
and an evil step monster.
Mhm.
And I think I was a very curious, and I was loved. I have a big family, a big Mexican family, and that was, looking back now, I joke, but I'm like, yeah, you couldn't alienate a Latina. There's too many of us. But in retrospect, that was my hiding spot. That was where uh, that was a place where I would just, I would stay weekends and I would play with my cousins. So I had to learn to adapt. And uh, like most kids, by the time I was a teen, flipped, and I was just couldn't
You
even be my mom.
you had a hard time with knowing how to be. You had a hard
Oh,
time with your identity.
um, I got really good at being really uncomfortable.
Okay.
I got really good
Yeah, I
at
know
being
that one.
really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I the first 7 years of my life were pretty decent. I mean, both my parents, I was in Catholic school, I was in ballet, I was playing soccer. So my stepmom was very jealous, very threatened. So
Mhm.
there was a lot of there was a lot of hate towards my mom,
Yeah.
and I was a reminder of that. And yeah, body image, like soccer players. My dad is a soccer player. I was a soccer player, and uh, soccer players have nice muscles.
Mm.
And she would say things like, my sister, I shouldn't even say her name.
Uh,
Don't play soccer. Don't play soccer. You're going to have legs like Lisa. So just, so not only did she write that, but it was a daily, like you're going home to a bully. Like
Yes.
yeah, yeah, you don't feel like I didn't feel comfortable taking a shower. I couldn't wait till my dad got there. I always had to I had to play a part
Mhm.
that I was uncomfortable with and
Okay.
nobody knew.
That's crazy, isn't it? But crazy true. And it takes me back to the stepdad that's around now. And nobody knows. Nobody knows what he was doing. But I'm sensing it now. I can not even sense. That's a weird thing, isn't it? Because my memory of thinking about him actually came across as a sense. Whoa, bloody
Yeah.
hell. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
There's something about them that is I don't know how to explain it. There's a kind of a bit of a heaviness, a bit of a dangerousness, a bit of a cold, a bit of a
yes. There's a darkness.
emptiness. There's something. There's a
The
darkness. Yeah.
darkness. It's the darkness. And kids know when adults don't really like them.
Yeah.
She was very like many alienators, she would have to run the narrative wherever we went. So it was constantly being reinforced
Right.
and constantly.
Yeah.
So you know, from the time I was 7 to 13, I spent more time with my stepmom than I did either of my parents. Unfortunately, you can't co-parent with a narcissist,
Yeah.
but I'm a real big advocate for parents, and especially that are going to get remarried. Like,
Yeah.
I walk the talk. This is what I did, but I took over the discipline. I wasn't going to let someone tell my son how to be. I was a little bit of a helicopter, but I peeled back. But yeah, you learn quickly.
Yeah.
But very uncomfortable way to grow up.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I didn't
sorry, just cut you off. That's like navigating. I used to think that. Isn't it about navigating your way somehow?
Yeah, it's just we use that word a lot. It's more like surviving,
Mm.
because navigating you get to choose, right, which way you want to go. But when you're surviving, you really are enduring something. I didn't really understand, so it's more like you endure something because what option do you have?
Yeah.
And
Too right.
we weren't taught about the importance of having a healthy relationship with both our parents, and we're not taught that, what do you do when both your parents hate each other? Because it's still a
That's a good
flip, like
point.
you said. This is a I had to learn to carry this. I had to merge it. I had to learn to carry this,
Hmm.
uh, whatever you want to call it. I just call it my life. I
Hmm.
had to learn to carry it differently. uh,
Both of my parents are now dead. And when I look back, because I was alienated from my dad, and I ended up seeing him 3 times after that. And I, I, I think it is what you just now said. It's like, my life with them, my relationship with them. I realize now that they're dead, I can look at it and say, actually, that was my life with them.
it's part of your it's a because you're here now, and when you do a lot of the work, and then the older we get, there is some wisdom, because what am I going to do? Stay angry, be a victim? I mean, I already survived it. I flipped it. I raised my son. He didn't have a childhood like that.
Mm.
Thank you. I um
You had a good husband.
I
You,
had a good husband till he wasn't.
uh-huh. You had some good careers.
I had some good careers. Never thought that I would write a book. When I read that script
Mhm.
in my 40s, after already my son was already out of college, like
Yeah.
25. And I remember reading it, and I remember looking at my husband going, what the hell happened? And I'll never forget, like, we're like, what do we do with it? And he said, you put it in the light.
Okay.
And that's what I've been trying to do. And that I don't know any different. So when other people like tell me like, holy shit, this is really bad. And I'm like, I know. And at some level, as you read the book, you can tell that I was, I became a flight attendant out of spite. I was
Hmm.
fighting her all the time. Like, you're not gonna, I didn't know that I was fighting her internally, but I had no idea that I had a dysfunctional attachment with my dad and an insecure attachment or with my mom. I had no idea. I thought I just had bad parents. Even my husband, we were just like, because
You,
nobody knew. It was really about mine for everyone.
so you said in your book, I'm
Mhm.
just going to read a little bit of this if you don't mind. One time when I was 13 and a half, okay, and I was dropped off at my mum's house, and my stepmom had given my dad an ultimatum. It was either me or her and the kids. I was a typical alienated 13-year-old, but I didn't know it. Okay. Okay.
Those
So,
damn garbage bags. Still can't look at them to this day.
yeah. And the only person who did know was the alienator, the
Mhm.
stepmom at that time. And so you're a typical alienated 13-year-old, and you didn't know it, which is a very strange place to be, isn't it? Because when you don't know that you're being abused, that's um, that's a pretty serious thing because you, like you said it later on, the body keeps a score. Somebody wrote that. I can't remember who that was. Body keeps a score. And do you remember who wrote that? Body keeps a
I want
score.
to say that oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue, but Yvette Van Bessel,
It
we'll
is like
figure it out.
something like that,
Something like
isn't it?
that. Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
very famous book. Very good book.
that's
Yes.
right. Write it in the
Very
comment.
spot on.
Anybody who knows that, write it in the comments. So we'll look it
Yes.
up anyway by that time.
Yes. Yes.
But so your body was keeping the score, and we were talking back last week about how we started getting ill around about 40. That tells me when people say time heals all, it's not actually true. It's like if it's not being processed, it just builds up and up and up, and you cannot escape it. Isn't that right?
Yes. That's why the reactions are so explosive, right?
Mm.
And especially when you're a teenager, there's like literally like less than 3 seconds. You're like straight Ferrari, like I am out, like I hate you, I don't want to be, I
Yeah.
would run away.
Mm.
uh
And
it,
it's all
that is a
normal. Sorry.
yeah, normal behavior for a unfathomable situation, and this is why it's so important to educate parents from the perspective of kids who grew up and actually got to where we're at, and to help even the other ones beneath us.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I didn't find that script, if I didn't put it together, they would have had me on all kinds of different medications, because they were saying, you had lupus, oh, it's rheumatoid. And so
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of things kind of, like you can see throughout my life, like a lot of things were really significant. And you can see even where all the different therapists that I write about, and like all the different types of therapy, and they didn't have this, nobody knew. And that's why this was, it's almost like I had to do it, because I knew that there were millions of me and you out there.
This is an older generation that's trying to cope. And like you said, the only way that we could cope was to put it out into the light because it wanted to be out into the light. And then we try and speak about it. Some of us get shut down. Some of us don't know how to talk about it. We didn't have the technology back then to actually say anything about it. It was a dangerous environment. And I'm leading into school right now because you were involved in school. I was a teacher, and we can both know that in schools, they teach you all about abuse, but they don't teach about this one abuse, which has, I think we call it vicarious abuse. That's just not mentioned at all. So if you had a word for the schools, what do you reckon you'd say?
It's time to teach the kids how to understand their own body and mind. And and I have a course, by the way, for this, ages 7 to 17, but it's time to teach the kids how to navigate and understand their parents' divorce,
Okay.
so that they are aware of, like, if my stepmom or my dad or someone would have said something about my mom, like, hey, I don't want to hear about the divorce. because my body and mind is growing and I need to stay safe and whole. And when kids start to understand and know that, their minds are growing, and kids are curious by nature,
Yeah.
and it's time to start educating the kids. So I do have a course. It is called Navigating Tough Times Between uh, Parents that are going through a divorce. So
We're
it's
going to put a
ages.
link down there as well, just so that
Yes.
you'll know.
Yes, and it's really good. It's 15 minutes and I'm there with my book and I'm talking to the kids like I was right where you're at, like guiding them through. I explain parental alienation. I explain the importance of having a positive, healthy relationship with both parents. And this should be done when the parents decide to split. I think it's very important uh, because ultimately it's us that have to grow up and do the work.
Hmm.
So why can't they teach us? So
Hmm.
my and I think the more that I went around, we researched it. It's a really good course. I'm gonna have like a special showing, I think, for it. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe we can do it on your show.
Yeah,
But
great.
yeah,
PA
it's just
Awareness Day is coming up soon, so
yeah, it's so important. It's something I wish I would have had, and it's done in a very innocent way, because there's a loss of innocence when our parents get
yes,
divorced,
yes,
and parents don't understand. It's like, okay, it's uncomfortable because they don't explain, but we're always going to be here for you, it's just going to be different. But they don't explain, you're going to feel sad sometimes, and you're going to you may want your dad or you may want your mom. Like, they need to be able to, it's like I'm all for 50-50, except when parents don't co-parent. It's
hmm,
This is why it's so important that we educate the kids. If you're going to split us,
hmm,
then give us the vest and the tools to navigate when our parents aren't online, because
hmm.
it's frankly
Yeah,
neglect.
yeah, totally. Yeah, because they're even dealing with parents who can't handle their own emotions because they might have had stuff that they've not processed from back then, and so then we're having to figure that one out for them as well. Then in the schools, just for them to be able to go to the schools, who let's say if they get it, if the schools then understand it, then the schools aren't going to be taking the children and putting in intervention programs which are insufficient, or they make wrong diagnoses.
Right.
And so you mentioned something else as well. I think it's a good time to say this now. Like, parents split up. Somewhere in your book, you said, well, parents tend to try to move on too quickly. Can you explain that? Because
Yeah.
that really caught my
Yeah.
attention.
Parents that do that, they have attachment issues. It's why
Yeah.
when some women have, like, or men have, they go from relationship to relationship to relationship,
Yeah.
and they'll even stay in a unhealthy relationship because it's like a band-aid. Because when we're not in relationship, you really feel those wounds.
Yeah.
You feel that uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing that would keep a parent away from their child, or a dad, or mom putting their head in the sand, not wanting to get involved, not wanting to defend their child or make it messy. And that is because the parent, either, some people say it's a personality disorder. It could be. It could also be a really bad attachment disorder, because I I can't think of anything else that is strong, because the need to attach, it is programmed in us. We are meant for connection.
Hmm.
And when you're a parent and you're going through a divorce, so there's comfort, so you're seeking that comfort. But when you're in that relationship, you're not giving enough time to build that new foundation with your children. There's a lot of wisdom, and I wouldn't want to go back to my 30s.
Hmm.
But there is a lot of wisdom when you you grow up and you raise a child, or you don't get to raise a child, or you go through the divorce, you go through life, and that is experience. And
Yes.
that is one of the best ways, whether if it's a bad experience or a good experience, but it is okay, am I going to repeat that? Or, what didn't I like about that? Like, I want to change that. So that's, suffering is a universal thing. We all suffer. And in this space, there's so much pain and suffering. And we don't know. And it's so hard because I can look back now and go, wow, I would not have known any of this had I not gone through all of that.
Mm.
And it was a lot. I won't sugarcoat it. I mean, I know you see a face. I'm smiling, and there's times when yeah, I break down. I'm down to like once a week now. I'll give it a good cry. But there were moments where I cry swimming pools.
Because
I
you've,
thought I was dehydrated. I was like crying all the time because it's just the emotions. Like crying is actually healthy because
yeah.
it releases chemicals and it actually balances out the nervous system. That's why there's this like relief.
Okay.
But so many of us weren't allowed to cry, and it's hard. And it's no, it's actually it's healthy. That's when people like get really upset. I messed up. I'm crying. I'm like, no, your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just didn't have somebody there to go, it's okay. Teach you
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good sad movies are pretty cool for that, aren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
stepmom. Oh,
I can't thank you enough for actually doing the work that you're doing. And I think what's coming across to me right now is people out there, if you realize the who you're looking at, us two, that we're not like just grown adults, we're alienated children. There's all this education out there about alienated kids, but you're looking at them, us, and there's hundreds of thousands of us. Hi, yeah, it's us.
there's all these like bad things that are said about alienated kids, and I just want to say, but um, I put this in my book. Well, these are all normal trauma responses.
Hmm. Hmm.
That is that is I think the most important thing is to know that um, when your kids are reacting so loud, and it's just like, what the heck is coming at me? Like the kids are just, especially the teens, and they may even be a little louder than we were now, and that makes sense because the way that society is. Um, just like the mama and the papa bear, what do you do when you take the cub away from a mama or papa bear? They are protective. Well, when you're alienated, it's unnatural to push your parent away.
Hmm.
And so when you're alienated, you are missing that attachment. And so you protecting yourself. So that rage, that anger, it's the one thing I have in common with all the alienated kids is like, there's no, there, I acted that way. This is why I'm very like uh, empathetic for the kids, because when you spend that much time in your internal world wanting someone to save you, someone to hear you, someone to figure it out, because you spend a lot of time alone
Yes, you
in
do.
your internal world, and it's confusing. And so one of the hardest things is to express to professionals and anybody that's uh, trying to break this ceiling, the biggest reasons. And this is why I don't use labels, because there's so much fear already.
Mhm.
And when parents, it's like, when the worst thing a parent can do is show their kid, this is the divorce, look at what your mom is doing, look at what your dad is doing, but then go online, and then parents are, and they have the right, I get it, they have the right, but to understand that you you maybe actually, I know you have the right to tell your story, but if you're, most of the kids are staying away because they're afraid, and they
Mhm.
don't want to believe that. I wouldn't want to believe. I would have been like, F you, that's no. It would have triggered me because you already have a negative bias about your parents. So
Mhm.
hearing all these things can be very scary. That's why Dr. Burnett says that parental alienation is a relational issue with the parent.
Mhm.
There's a shoot ton of trauma
Mhm.
that we took hits.
Mhm.
We took hits.
I totally relate to where you said that you had no voice, and now here we are. Now we're talking about it as well. And and it relates to what you were just saying that all these parents are going online and they're all talking about it. So, but at least now I've got it, not just a voice, but I've also got that composure. Do you remember like we had to get to a place where we could objectively talk about this and pull ourselves out of the emotional state?
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah. And that was that took a lot of practice. That
A
was a
lot of
lot of
practice.
practice the last a lot of practice. Yeah, the divorce was good for me because I had there was like a lot of practice and you know you when you're able to come back to yourself and like I said in my book, healing is like a full-time sport. The more you do it, the better you get at it. But I know that, you know, I'm getting used to it now. I can tell you that I have a really beautiful relationship with my mom now. Um, and it didn't happen overnight, parents, it didn't. And the biggest, uh, the biggest shift in reconnecting with my targeted parent really was my mom understanding what I needed from her. Because
Okay.
a lot of parents go in and it's, you know, I get it. It's about, you know, it's the abuse and it's really hard because kids it's really uncomfortable to see our parents in a state of fear, trauma, because we have an automatic connection. And it's like, oh, they can't protect me. Who's gonna? It happens fast. So it's so important that parents understand their own patterns and their own things that they may not even be aware that could be their kids, you know, because every parent seems to think that, oh, it's the ex. They sound just like the ex. Well, sometimes we do, and we're not even alienated. Like my son sounds just like his dad. Like, you know, there's little things, and so it's just, you know, be mindful because there's gonna be a time when, like, my mom now, like, this is what we do. We go on walks. Like, you wanna walk me? Yeah, let's walk. Like we go on, like we walk, we move our bodies. Uh, she understands my trauma. She understands things that like uh, I don't like. I don't like the quiet. So there's always music playing in the background. Like she'll be like, turn on the music. So she really makes space for me to feel comfortable. And it took a long time because she didn't want to believe it. She
Right.
didn't want to believe that. No, you can't still be like that. I'm like, you think I would be making this up?
Hmm. That's a huge amount of love from your mum as well, isn't it? It's because she would not have known those skills either, but she would have in the background been researching and trying to figure it all out. And then parenting just like she needed to. Like
Yeah.
how if you got some child who has non-neurotypical kind of way or some
Yeah.
disability or whatever it is, and we learn how to parent and how to help our child. That's what your mum did for you, isn't it?
She's yes, she's doing
Yeah.
yes, and the
Good mom.
it's funny because like sometimes it's automatic. Because remember, 40 years is a long time, so there's not enough time in my life or my parents to get back what was stolen.
Mhm.
So my body uh, got accustomed to the stress. So our environments are so important. And even in the now, I'm in my old, this is the house I'm in now is it's remodeled, but this is where I lived with my mom prior to my alienation. And it's remodeled. But every time I walk by my old room, I just kind of like chuckle and like I can remember sliding the hallway to get the phone because my dad would call, you know, and just there's nothing like it's just it is what it is, and so I just accept it, and it serves a purpose,
Okay.
and it helps that I can share and reach out and relate to other people. Like you
Hmm.
understand that inner it's our internal world that parents need to focus on, and that's why talking about alienation and how awful it is and it's the worst it is, but I have to skip those videos. I can't read anything anymore on parental alien. It's rare. that I can sit through something and go, oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
you can't stay in it. It's just that's a bad place. That's like trying to stay
right?
in a car wreck. You got to get out of it.
Yes, yes. And parents and so then think about when we're in all the groups that are saturated.
Uh-huh.
This is not okay. No wonder why. And I get that the parents are traumatized, but it's like, hey, you got to be ready for when your kids come
Hmm.
like, because what would happen is you're just going to re-traumatize your child and they're going to stay away. And
Hmm.
the way we heal is by I mean there's a lot of components, but the most important one was my mom needed to change. And a lot
Yes.
of parents have a hard time because they're like, what do you mean change? Not you, change the way that she saw me, not through the clinical lens, but oh, that's just her body, and that's just the trauma. And I'll just tell her, oh, I'm feeling kind of weird. And we just kind of just allowing me to share what I'm going through without getting mad or like, oh, it's you're bringing up the past again, or things like that. It's just like I just need to vent. I didn't have a mom or dad to really vent to.
I
So
hope people are watching and listening to this and hearing how they need to be. You're just giving great advice. I mean,
thank you.
massive advice that one is. You've just told parents how to get their children back.
Trying. I have been trying, and I get a lot of my nickname, if people don't know, it's Tora, and
Yeah.
that means female bull. There are bulls everywhere. My grandpa named me out of 29 grandchildren. I was the only one with the name Tora,
Hmm.
and we become what we believe.
Hmm.
And there's a saying that, okay, now I'm in the arena, but what happens to the bull when they're in the arena?
Yeah.
So it's like, how much more do I need to hit? It's like I'm here to help everyone. Like, let's get this into the DSM. Let's help each other, because the more time, like 40 years is a long time. I mean,
Long
that's
time.
our whole life. This is heavy stuff. And so parents really, really need to understand. It's like, hey, I get it. I'm a mom. Look, I get it. You don't have to change. You get to be you, but you're what you're doing for your child is you're making space. You're not, because all you hear is they're just like the narcissistic ex. And that's, we still love that. And I still love my dad. Is my dad, I don't want to think of my dad as being mentally ill. I think he was very loving, and like most parents, they didn't know. He did the best that he could. And so my mom is very, very good at like uh listening, and my parents will talk. Last year I was in the hospital with sepsis. They both came from opposite sides of the state, and I freaked out in the hospital because I wasn't used to seeing them. And I had like a moment, and it happened a little bit a couple of years ago. Mom's like, you did the same thing. I'm like, shit, it's alienation. But they're aware of it.
Mm.
Had I not been able to like remember, Dad, bring me that script. It's in my stepmom's nightstand. He brought it to me. So my parents didn't, this wasn't never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And you have parents saying uh, everything is either black or white, and the kids think black or white, but they don't see that they're thinking in black or white. And
Mhm.
then you have like all the family court, and it's like
Mhm.
the kids are they're enduring. And in order to heal your relationship, your child needs to accept that they've been alienated. And I don't know if I would have been able to put it together if I didn't have that script, because not, and I don't think every kid needs to have a script, but mine was pretty bad. So it helped my mom. It awoke in her. So
Mhm.
a lot of parents have a hard time with the book because you have to read it like as as it is. It's a tool, uh, because a lot of parents worry that's what my kid is going through, and it's like maybe not, but there's a lot of gems in there to help and understand that.
Mhm. The first part of it, as you say about the alienator's done this, the truth is that, and there's many, many pages of that, which is just incredible. It's like half a novel in itself. it's got to be read because people can't understand just what people, these people actually do stuff which is just, you couldn't make it up. It's unbelievable. It's really bad. But then
It
you
is.
go on to talk about more of your life, certain chapters of your life, things like you're coming off your bike, you're hurting your face, the meeting your husband, bullies, the various bullies out there, and you've got all those little gems all the way along. So I was taking screenshots on my phone. Oh, here's a bit, and there's a bit, all these different types of little things that come up, things like the sabotage, things like the you mentioned about the co-parenting, and we all say you can't co-parent with a narcissist, and so how do we deal with that? But it's not always the mum and dad. There's the step parents and there's the grandparents who are alienating,
Mhm.
like
And
in
his
your
parents'
case.
patterns. Yeah, like my dad had the ostrich pattern where, because he had two other kids, and this happens a lot to parents. It's like, I got kids over here, and so then the kid becomes a scapegoat, and
Yes, yes,
it's a bloody hell.
yes.
And it's that's why I said thank God for my grandparents and like, people, it's generational. I'm like, my grandma stayed with my grandpa because she didn't have a dad. She was 15 when she got pregnant back in Mexico. My grandpa was a famous boxer, and we landed here, and we've a big old family, and uh, happy, mildly dysfunctional probably, but who is it?
Say
We
really.
all love each other. But I'm telling you, it was it was always being for force familia, family, and it's just part of the culture.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Elaine Cobb or Bill Eddy.
Yes,
It was
yes,
really
yes,
good, and it
yes.
was on alienation and estrangement,
Mm-hmm.
and like the different like you if there's domestic violence, it's not really alienation, and then it went into kids are usually kept from the other family members, and it was like I had a connection with my mom. I remember that. There was no domestic violence. Uh, so it, but yet I did estrange myself when I was alienated and after and with my dad. So it's like, you get to our age and you kind of experience it all in a
Pretty
way.
much, pretty much. Somebody said to me on the Facebook the other day, no, so it was on the one of the YouTube videos, and because I've been working in the parental alienation for a while and narcissistic abuse community for some time, and they said, "Oh, I didn't know you were an alienated child." Yeah, yes, quite a lot of us are, loads of us. You mentioned something about Bob Hoffman,
Mhm.
negative love syndrome. What is that?
Mhm. So that is a term that he brought forth, and it is how we adopt our parents' negative love patterns. It's so our parents love us the best they can, but it's negative because it is not helping us; it harms us.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Okay.
we so the way that Bob describes it, he was a pioneer back in the day, and regular psychologists weren't taught this. So he went off the other side, and he was like he believed in. He's no longer here, but he believed that kids we're not just we're more than our patterns. We're more than our trauma. And so he came up with a program that's been very effective for over 50 years. And that was the beginning of my journey to healing, uh,
Okay.
the very, very beginning. And it was, it, I'm smiling because it was like, I'll never forget getting there and going, wait, there's nothing wrong with me. Nope. You just because you have to be able to fit certain criteria to get in there. You had to have had trauma between the ages of 7 through, through 13.
Okay. I'll go
And
there. Okay.
yes, right. And then you had to you can't really have some sort of like I think it's like I'm not sure, bipolar. They may not be able to work. And you can't have tried to commit suicide um, before. It's just
Okay.
they have these certain markers because the work that you are put through is pretty
It's pretty intense,
very
but it
extreme.
sounds like.
Oh, yes. At the same time, though, people go there because they're like, I do not want to feel this way anymore. I am ready. So you learn it, teach it. I that's what I bring forth to in my book, and I'm hopefully start teaching this to parents because it's it's it is the most amazing and yet human experience because you are put into a room with 40 other people that you don't know. They don't know, you don't know what they do for a living. You right off the bat, you it's like you get there and you feel like a stunted I felt like a stunted kid. Everybody wants to run away. You got to do the hard work. But yeah, some of the stuff is top secret, but I can share certain things, but I can tell you that I've never heard so much yearning and screaming because you really you get to work with the body. And you have to use the body to heal. Like I said, I've mentioned this before. I could not heal with my mom
Mhm.
until I started working with my body. Why? Because my body remembers.
Mhm.
So anytime I was around my mom, so this is what's happening is the kids are their nervous system is so lit up
Mhm.
and the parents are so attuned to, oh, it's got to be this, oh, it's this, it's this, it's this, and it's like, no, it's
Mhm.
in the body. The kids don't even know because that's their normal. And the
Mhm.
minute you say divorce, alienation, boom, kid's gone, disconnected, disassociated, I'm out.
Mhm.
So when parents understand, oh, it's in their body, yes. And that's why we need safety, right? This is why like we hit it off right away because like there is a comfort when I know someone has read my book because I feel like, okay, good, he understands because when you try to explain that it's really hard to talk about.
Where do you
Like,
start? Isn't
like
it?
I oh, and just full disclosure, after I wrote that book, it took me a while to like that I came pretty close to losing it. Like I did not like there were days when I could only write 2 words and I would be like, I'm out
Mhm.
because you and I didn't even put in my early childhood because I was just like, that's too much for people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You that just I was thinking that as well. When you were writing it, I was thinking how on earth, where, like, how could you have dealt with so much heaviness? Because it was all you mentioned triggers through the book. You blinking heck, you must have been triggered left, right, and center. But also, it must have been like I don't know, because you'd experienced a lot of this before. You'd revisited and regurgitated it, but actually putting it down into some format, I can imagine that the healing must have been incredible just writing that book. Healing's painful, you know?
Yeah, it was like I felt like a teenager forced to do homework and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I get myself into this? And like,
I'm glad you
it
did your
took me an
homework.
extra year. It took me an extra year. Yeah, it's just like I had to do like, yeah, I got put on like the summer school program. Like, I didn't even open up when they first arrived. Everyone has like their author thing. I just sat there and just like this dysfunctional relationship with like, ugh, like it was it's a wash.
Okay.
The one good thing, the most important thing, and I'll just share this because I
Yeah.
don't want to bum out. I want your audience to know
Yes.
the most important person that I cared about. Their opinion was my son, and he said, "Mom, that book is so good. It's so good." And that that was everything. And then he said, "But mom, yeah, you know nothing's gonna change, right?" You mean nothing's gonna change? It's not gonna change anything. You know that. He was right. The only thing that changed was me, my relationship with my mom. But my dad's, he's 80s, too late. Like So to put my whole life out there, like I have no secrets now. And I just want to like help the kids. Like
Mhm.
I need to like, who do I need to reach out to? And I know everyone knows who I am, and maybe they're like, oh, she won't talk to me. Are you kidding? I'll talk to anyone. I just I know the depth of despair. And if I didn't know, and if I didn't get away, I mean, I understand why people don't want to be here. I understand why they numb, why they do. I get it. There's no judgment. There's nothing but love. I see you. It's part of my new life. And it's both, it's hard sometimes, Kevin, because so many people want to tell their stories. And yet I had the stepmom that was stupid enough to leave it in her bedroom nightstand for 27 years.
I want to tell you something.
Mhm.
I was dating somebody for 5 years. That's the person when I woke up to what is narcissistic abuse, brought me to my knees. And that's when the journey, I think, took a full swing. But the point I'm saying that, she always used to say to me, I kid you not, she'd say, oh, I write in a journal. Don't look at it. It's by my bedside. She could have bloody well said, I write in a journal, it's right in my bedside, Kev. Have a look. That's kind of like what she's saying. She wrote in a journal and she was telling me that it existed, and she told me exactly where it was because she wanted me to see it.
Oh yeah. She
Hmm.
oh a
I,
100%. Yeah, she left it. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I wish I'd have read it, you know,
Oh,
but I didn't
I
need
know.
to because I knew what was going on. But I didn't know what was going on inside her head, not until afterwards. And it seems, here's the thing, right? I tell people, you'll get this, is everything seems so insane and crazy, and you're trying to put the pieces together from your background, from your history, all through your life, and nothing makes sense until you tip it upside down and you say, well, no, surely that can't be possible. That can't be the reason. When you tip it up, you go, yeah, it can be. And then everything makes sense. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh yeah, because denial is our first pattern. Like I think shame is the first thing we all learn, but denial because it's like the brain protecting itself.
Yeah.
And that's why I think as hard as it was, I'm glad for me in my situation, uh, I'm glad I found out later. This is why it's really important. Negative experiences shape our minds. So kids, that are 18, parents want to run and tell them right away. And it's like, if all they had is all that negative, they're 18 years old. And then you're going to put that on them. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is why we kind of have to make it a more safer space so that kids are actually like, why I talk to kids, it's like, so what do you feel like in your body? Like, I want to ask you, like, I had Stockholm syndrome to the max with my stepmom.
Mhm.
When the day that I read that as a grown woman, still alienated child, we do have identity. we do
Yeah.
struggle with identity. I
Yeah.
can't. I hate trying to. Someone give us a cool name like the O, whatever it is, but
Uh-huh.
I'll never forget. Like as soon as I read that, I knew I am never going to see this blank blank again. Like I don't ever want to see her again. Uh, just because I would automatically shrink myself. I would automatically say, why am I so nice to her? And everyone in my family would ask her, why are you so quick, Tora, to tell everybody off? But the one person you didn't, and I'm like, Stockholm.
That's the craziest thing, isn't it? Wow. What a
And I
what
don't, yeah, like, is it different with a parent? Like, did you have Stockholm with a parent, or is it because
no. No, no. We were free to be able to go off and not have to worry about it. We go home and our parents would say, I'm imagining so, would say, hey, welcome back, Johnny, Frida, whoever it is, what you've been doing with yourself this past few months. But these, I used to say to people when they lost their children through this way, and they were just dying inside, and they didn't understand when I say you've got to, and they misinterpreted this as well. You got to let go. I'm not saying let go of the children. You got to let go of that pain, that hold. You got to let go of that, what's turning into a codependency state. You
Yes,
got to let go of it, and you'll see they're actually still there. It's a
yes.
weird thing.
Lifetime of letting go too. It's not just like, some people can, but for me, they're just with the because you're I don't want to say you become attached to it, but even like the parents, they become attached to like, and this is what I really want to share. You become attached to like the fight. Like, I got to prove myself. I got to do this. I got to do this. And then you do it. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah, not good.
That,
It's not good.
that was, yeah,
Yeah, you get a
I
lot of
wish I would have, yeah,
you get a lot of peace
that wasn't felt a
afterwards.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't, yeah, that was if I could go back, I would have, I don't know. I can't go back. It was woulda, shoulda, coulda. I don't want to do that. But yeah, it's,
Yeah. Freedom of the alienated child being able to let go of that bond. But you know, kids
relief. It
should
was a
anyway.
relief. Yeah, it was a relief. And then because you're a parent, you're right. I found out, accepted it, figured it out, and so you grieve for the little girl, but you also understand because you're a parent, so like I'll never forget. It was like the panic attacks I was having, just
Mhm.
having to relive that and jumping in and out of my pool because my body was just like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
I think at some point it got to my husband because he didn't think I was going to come out of it. I stayed on the couch. I was like a zombie. I was just like just steamrolled. Like I knew it. Like, you want to, it's a lot. It is a lot. And so it's a really hard thing to accept.
Mhm.
But once you do, you get like a brand new life. And this is why it's so important that parents lead not with fear. That fear-based information is no different than the news.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So if they don't lead by fear, they lead by wisdom, right?
Wisdom, patience, being
Patience.
human, like, hey, you're human. Like,
Mhm.
you know, what's a kid supposed to do when they lose an attachment, a God-given attachment, a biological need? How is a kid supposed to act?
Yeah. It's a lot of courage
They
from the
don't know.
child. And that's
Yeah.
the thing I realized when my son reached out to me. It took a lot of courage. And then I realized as well when I broke away from my parents, or at least a stepdad, and also said goodbye to my mom, that took a lot of courage as well. And like you said, there's a whole new world, a whole new life after that. And with that whole new life, it's a kind of a cool life. It is. If I could just mention one thing that you kept repeating over and over again, loads of times, and I relate to this, you talk about the somatic aspect of it. And then, we can think logically about it, and we can think about what's going on with the brain and, the prefrontal cortex and the limbic system. But actually, really, all of this is about how the feelings, the somaticness is about the feelings of it, which is funny enough, is what I'm studying now. I came out of the narcissistic abuse stuff, the parental alienation stuff, and out on the other side again, seeing it all as there's a narcissistic abuse there, 100%. But what does that do? Well, it makes us ill. Why does it make us ill? Because our body, the feelings, it's getting ill.
The mind and the body. So the body doesn't, so emotional pain is no different than physical pain.
Yep.
The body and mind process it the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's why emotions hurt. So what happens is the body remembers, and this is why when you get triggered, think about like your ex. Like if you're a parent and you're like, what does your body feel like when you're walking into that courtroom? What's going on inside in there?
Mm-hmm.
That's your body, like on adrenaline, on cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
And your body's doing what it's supposed to do. It's just that when you're a kid growing up, you're supposed to be nurtured, safe. You're supposed to be, your foundation is being set. So when divorce happens and family court and alienation and parents uh, just taking on these 8-year court battles. And I get why a parent would want to fight because of all the things, in certain cases, yeah, you have to try. In some cases, it's like if your kid's already 15, 16, sometimes it's the push and pull because you don't get a break from it, even throughout your life, because you're still trying to navigate. Okay, this is mom, this is dad, and I got to go here, I got to go there, and you're still split as an adult, even
Mhm.
if because I just thought I was just a kid from divorce, but no, I was hijacked and alienated like you and
Mhm.
a lot of the other kids that
Kids have
aren't
got to
ready.
kids have got to put themselves back together again, and it takes them such a long time. They don't even know what it is that they're trying to put back together again. Situation of you and me, we had no idea. We questioned ourselves. We were, like we were saying, getting ill. I was getting into so much trouble, but yet I was not a troublemaker. I was making all the bad decisions, getting together with the wrong people, having so much trying to believe in myself, but actually really not believing in myself at all. And for the child to, because the child's going to grow up, and it's not the end when the child gets to 18, 25, then they've now got the 30s to go through, the 40s to go through. You can be guaranteed for sure this is not going to go away in their 50s and even their 60s. It's not going to go away, and something inside them, they have to somehow navigate this. So whatever parents are doing this, please look, you're not just making it so that your child's going to be a rag doll to you, the parent who's keeping the child at the moment. I was the rag doll to my mum. You're going to lose that child, but that child's going to lose themselves as well, and you're giving them an almost
Slow down.
impossible task to do, a
It's the slow down.
lifetime.
Yeah, that's why there's so many autoimmune disorders, and that's if like it's that there's a substance abuse, and
Hmm.
like people like jokingly, people are like, how did you not become a stripper? I'm like, did you read that script? I rebelled. I didn't want to be anything like that. But
Yeah.
God,
Hmm. The
bloody
the
hell.
the things that the children find out when they're older,
Oh,
they struggle with that, and just real quick, when I found out that my stepdad of 38 years, one of several, that he was trying to kill my mum actually in the end was just, and I was the replacement. And it's these kind of things when you're seeing everybody else they don't see that. You're still the scapegoat, or you've got people who now are around you that love you, but how do you tell those people that love you? And then there's the fear inside. How are they going to take this? How do I speak with these people? So there's a huge amount of challenges. And I think take Lisa's advice when it goes to when the children and the adult, the parents, right here. Consider the somatic side of things. Actually, I just thought about this. CAFCAS is Children and Families Advisory Services over here for the courts, and they deal with all of these issues. And they take the voice of the child. I'm just thinking something new, really. Maybe if they don't consider Kafkas, rather than consider the voice of the child, which has been
mhm.
hijacked by the alienator, maybe consider looking at how the child feels. Go somatic. Yeah. The child can't
Right,
actually
because we don't have the
articulate that.
words, we
Go
have the
for it.
sensations,
Yeah,
right? It's like
yeah.
I remember the sensation, so the body remembers. So like I explained, so it's a flip. So basically, what happens is think of think of your mind, think of your child's mind like a deck of cards, and all of a sudden your kid's sitting there and they're feeling all, I would feel all kinds of uncomfortable in my body, and the mind
Mm.
wants to match what the body is feeling. And so when you're alienated, right, it's like negative experiences shape our minds. So 15, you only have 15 years of life experience. And if all of you've experienced is your parents fighting and this narrative or that narrative, all of a sudden your body's like shooting all kinds of like warning signals. And then there goes the mind go, oh, it's this. And
Mm.
boom, you're out, you're gone because you don't
Mm.
have any other life experience. This is why sometimes it's easier, is like this is why I try to tell kids, hey, you're going to be okay. If I can get through all that, you're going to be okay.
Hmm.
Because the sooner they accept it, the less therapy, if I would have found out at say like let's just say 30, right? Then you want to take time and space away. Thank God I had time and space because that allows you to heal. You get out of that environment. But to go straight to like people go, oh, my kid wants to write a book. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Like you want to have positive experiences. Positive experiences counteract those negative. That's why it helps. So like it was a good thing that I wanted to get the hell away from my parents, even though I didn't. I just thought I had a bad childhood, like most of the Gen Xers. It was like that, just wanting to get away. And because internally on the inside, and I say this a lot, nobody knows what the kids feel internally because that is our safe world. And even when we do share, parents don't want to believe it. They're like, yeah, you're brainwashed, you know what you're talking about. No, I felt the same way I did as a little kid as to now. And the only difference is it took me 40 years to convince my parents. I told you it wasn't me. I knew it. And it was like and God, I love my parents. They came from two different countries. They immigrated here legally, and it's it's just really it's really really hard. And for parents that don't think that alienated kids don't have empathy or don't have guilt, I want to like give a video a red card, like in soccer, red card,
Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
red card, parent.
Hmm.
I'm not good because I'll tell you what, you cannot show empathy or guilt when you are in your fight or flight. All you can do is survive. So, anybody that is writing that, please go back to school. That is not okay. There's so much, there's, I mean, I can cry because my dad's 80. Uh, my mom's still really healthy. Um, they have graciously uh, you see it when they see me struggle or they see me get frustrated or angry because I got a bully parent or just having to take hits. And it's like, Mom, I can't do this anymore. Like, just keep going. You're doing the right thing. And it's like, you guys don't understand. And you see this just, and I'm a parent, and everything I did for my son was out of the sensations that I didn't have the words. I had the sensations. So when you talk to the kids, you want to be talking to their sensations. And I'm sharing a lot here, but it's because I'm very passionate and I understand this monster and I'm here to help slay it. But we need parents and professionals to stand alongside us, um, not hurt the kids that are, or even hurt each other online because it's not a good look. Uh, all parents are modeling behavior all the time. And even now, at 52 years old, my parents model gracious, kind behavior. And people always think you learned how to react that way from the alienator. Did your stepmom act like that? Did your dad act like that? No, my stepmom was covert. Are you kidding?
Mm.
She did that. So my loud reactions, that's how I know that's a loss of attachment. Your children screaming at you, yelling, they don't know because we weren't taught this. We have normalized divorce. We've normalized estrangement. And now we're in a parental crisis. And you see the world divided. That's exactly what it's like growing up, but the kids don't know any different. So it's up to the parents to start showing up and put that clinical stuff away.
Mhm.
Those are for the professionals.
Mhm.
What your kids want to hear is, I believe in you. I love you. You're going to get through this. And all that hard work, whatever you have to do, I'm going to cheer you on. They don't need to hear the negative. They don't need to hear how sick that other parent is. Believe me, I know which parent I needed to be with. Stricter parent that I needed. I would have been able to pay my bills on time and I share all my patterns in my book. I had over 400 and in a rush pattern. If you notice your kids always in a rush, kids that have dysregulated nervous systems, they're always like in a rush, like, or they're always like, okay, can we go next? Or they want to hurry up, and I'll take that toy. Like they're afraid to make space. So you hear all these terminologies, and that would get me too when I first started in this healing space, because I'm like, what is rumination? But that's when a cow chews. Like, oh, what do you mean by making? What do you mean make space? That means that in your body you have to stretch so much and open up every aspect, every vulnerable thing, because when you are alienated, you are growing up like this.
Mhm.
Now imagine going through life like this. Now imagine being online on TikTok, parental alienation real, all the negativity. Is that bringing the kids back? Really, really important. And I'm so glad that Kevin and I are here to help break open this epidemic, because the one thing we're all fighting over tariffs. Yeah. Well, guess what? We're all fighting over parental alienation. Every country, if we have in common, is this epidemic in every part of the world. Kids growing up like this, not knowing that they don't have a secure attachment to their parents.
We were two of them,
Yeah, we're too.
you and I. Lisa,
Yeah.
how can people get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Instagram, on Facebook, stephoodproject.org, uh, TikTok for now. Yeah, alienated by Lisa at yahoo.com. And my website will have my courses up there, but I want to do a special screening. I want every professional that wants to look at this. I'm telling you from the depths of my soul,
We don't
we have
want
to
people to
stop
do
this.
this. Yeah.
You have to, this isn't normal. If you understood from our perspective, from our lived experience,
Mhm.
these are human beings. These are
Mhm.
little kids that are stuck and they are in need of love, compassion. And I know they're not showing you their good side, because we can't when we're our fight or flight, we're scared. That's why they have to learn to make space. That's why somatic therapy and uh, uh, you have to learn to integrate. There's all these things that you hear people talk about healing and stuff. There's layers and then there's layers. Let me explain those layers. I explain it in my book. Integration, somatic therapy, understanding your own patterns, and be curious about, yeah, why do I get so upset and
Be
get
curious.
flustered?
It's
Yeah,
good.
over little things, not the like the big things. Like I have to pay my water bill. Like it's just like some things some things are endearing, and you get to a certain point, it's like, Kevin, it's really hard to grow up.
It's been bloody hard growing up, man. Hmm.
It's pure rubbish. And I'm telling you, like, if anybody just has a question or wants to reach out, I know sometimes my TikToks are not like my book. uh I know I can come off passionate, but honestly, that's just a cover. I'm a big nothing but love. I care too much. And I just,
We give
we're
too
just
many apple pies away. We do. We give
apple
too
pies.
many.
Yeah.
We give too many apple pies away. Yeah.
People
Yeah.
pleaser thing.
Mhm.
We don't even know we're doing it. It's like, well, yeah, you gotta, it's a lifetime. And I know that when I hear from the kids, or when the parents reach out and they're very grateful, it touches my heart. And that means a lot, because it's like, okay, good. It wasn't for nothing.
Of course, it's not. None of it's for nothing. You've done great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're gonna have to go, folks. We've been a long time. Thank you for listening. You've stayed with us this whole time. And if you want to get a hold of me as well, it's what is it? It's support at the power and control wheel.co.uk. And go to the website www. The same things, the power and control wheel.co.uk, and the social media as well. And I'll tell you the YouTube thing, but you're already here. So, look, if you need to get a hold of any of us at all, Lisa and myself, if you're looking at us as just grown-ups talking a load of tosh about parental alienation or something, just take another look and just slightly under the surface, we're two of the children who actually went through all of that and are out of this side and have kind of tried to figure out how do you talk about this lot. Lisa has the book, and so I encourage you to pick the book up. It's an incredible read. I generally don't tend to read so much, that just I don't know if I've got dyslexia or if it's a trauma, but going through the book, I made sure I darn well was able to follow that book. It's an easy read, and when you get to the last part of it, it's all what Lisa was just talking about. It's these all these parts of us. It's all these ways that we've kind of
Coped.
copes. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many, so many. So when you read through that yourself, you'll either recognize it in yourself if you've had this
Yes.
similar background, or it'll tell you what your children are going through as well. And hopefully, you've got enough compassion in there that you can find if you're going through difficulties yourself without your children, but to have enough compassion for yourself and to create that space for your child to be able to, they'll find their way back. They will find their way back. And just to give them a safe landing space where they can go there. It's not going to be just one immediate thing or they're back. This is a nurturing over the time, over the months, the years. They've been through a heck of a lot. We have been through a lot. On that note, thank you very much, everybody. God
Yeah.
bless yourself. Please like, share, and subscribe. And please follow Lisa as well. Have a look at the course, maybe too. And start thinking about the different ways in which you all talk about this as well. Quit the squabbling. If you're still on all these Facebook groups and regurgitating this pain, maybe step out of it just for
You're
a
reinfor
while.
your brain you're actually reinforcing and brainwashing. It feels good in the moment, but it's no different than what was going on for us. It's just being reinforced. If you're not getting something solid that's going to bring, like, is this going to bring me to my kid, or am I just, I mean, parents have a right to air out their stuff. It's just, I just think that, and I've heard it before, there's just a lot of kids that have been trying to help and they just they get shut down,
Mhm,
and it doesn't take much to hurt an alienated child. And I think that's why I, you know, we know how to protect ourselves, and
mhm,
they protect by staying away. And that's the last thing that parents want. And you could be accidentally, because it happened to me, you could be uh, you could be helping alienating someone else's kid because you're not over your trauma and you get triggered.
mhm,
And this is what the courts see. It's the being an adult is being able to control and understand your own emotions. And the courts use this against the parents. And it's like, but those are our kids. It's emotional.
mhm,
Yeah, but when kids go to school or they go in public, they have to act a certain way.
mhm.
And so it's all about understanding that. I mean, it's hard. I get that there's a lot of bad situations with the courts and stuff, but your kids uh your kids need you more than those judges. I mean, I guess some of them need to go away, but your kids aren't interested in the fight in family court. That's not going to make a difference. They that's not going to help resolve in here. But if there are kids that have gone through it, they definitely should speak up, because this stuff's got to stop.
Yeah.
It's contaminating our society, has been.
Mhm. I think one of the big things right there, folks, and this is going to be hard to say, and I might lose a couple of you possibly, but because I had to do it and Lisa had to do it, you got to look at yourself as well, and then you can do the thing and you can get yourself in the right place so the judges don't see you in that. Sometimes when they say you don't appear safe, it might be something that they've seen, it might be something that they've read, which isn't true as well.
Right.
We can at least negate some of the things, you know. If it's false allegations, then okay, there's false allegations, but we don't want to give them anything else. You know,
Yeah.
we don't want to show them that we're triggered, that we're in a that we're unsafe for our children. They see us
Right.
getting all emotional, they're not going to say, yeah, you can see your children. They want us just to be quite, you know, solid. That's a hard challenge. You you've been given a very unfair challenge. This wasn't supposed to happen. However, since you are in that place, you do have that responsibility for yourself and for your children to do so. It feels like an impossible task. It's not. And then you think, well, how on earth do I get to that point where I'm okay to be safe for my children? Because I don't even know what that bloody looks like. It takes an awful lot of exploration, getting it wrong, and messing up and feeling bad about yourself. But don't feel bad; it's fine.
It's like you're normal. Yeah, it's just it's like you're a human being having the human experience that nobody wants to talk about or own. Hey, I wrote and I had all kinds of patterns. I did all kinds of crazy stuff. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just own it. It's like, yep, this is it. And like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with you either, parents. You were hurt. You were hurt. And the most important thing has been taken from you but not stolen. We come back. I never stopped needing my mom, and I always came back, but I always
Mm-hmm.
went the other way. So
Mm-hmm.
stay
Always same.
kind. Yeah, it's just it's just a vicious cycle until you're like, all right, this is gotta don't want to feel like this anymore in my body or in my mind because when we are in a pattern, we are not living in the present. We are not living in reality. We're living in anger. When we're angry, we're still in victim mode.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing I learned. And I was like, wait, what?
Mm.
Because when I'm angry, I feel powerful. Yeah, no, you're being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
It's not fair. None
You're
of it's
being
fair. None of it's fair.
none of it's fair. And I just shout out to the parents that I know because there's nothing harder than being a parent, especially when you don't even get to enjoy your kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's happy meals and then there's happy hours. And happy hours are a lot of fun. And however that comes for you, just know it's okay to break. It's okay to be human. Just your kids are watching.
Mm-hmm. So because the kids are watching, take your time, folks. Just take your time. There's no rush on anything. The kids
And
aren't there today. Just take a deep breath and just go out and experience the day. I almost said enjoy the day. Experience the day. And if the same
yeah,
thing the next day, experience that next day.
like, it's okay to find something that uh, move your body,
Mm-hmm.
work with your body, walk. I wrote that
Mm-hmm.
book walking because I had so much energy. I couldn't sit and write
Mm.
because it was just so much. So walk, move your body. It's okay to find something um, that brings you comfort because
Mm-hmm.
so many parents just suffer and suffer and suffer. And that suffering is like energy and it sucks, but you really want to take that suffering and flip it. And I know it's hard, but will your kids come to you when you're suffering or when you're standing tall and being like, I got you? No matter where you're at, I got you. Or are they going to feel secure if you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Because kids, I mean, it's hard. Sometimes it is a hard thing for your kids to be able to walk through and like your son calling you.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
because he he loves his dad and he didn't want to get in a fight with him. We don't want that. But sometimes our bodies get attuned to that stress. And that's why it's so important to understand your own emotions. And I have a course and also I work with parents and you can get info from my book. I'm telling you, you could tell when something is good for your nervous system and when something's not. So even your body, parents, is telling you. So even when you're in these groups and you're, because we can get addicted to that too, addicted to the like social media, and it's just there's a couple times where I had to almost like I almost wanted to shut all my social media off.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just have to take a break because, and I don't even say anything. I just go dark.
Can I say something on that one as well? Like
Yeah, yeah.
parents, parents, you're not going to find your kids in those groups. Okay. You're probably not going to find yourself in those groups either.
It
I'm
would
going
be like me hanging out with my stepmom, trying to figure out how my mom is.
to, two grimaces. Yeah. It's
That was
both
good.
of us.
Ooh,
It's,
ooh, we both,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Says it all.
like
Yeah.
two little alienated kids right there.
There you go. We're gonna go. I'm gonna put the links down there as well. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Lisa, I can't thank you so much. I can't like believe you're here, and it's just thank you.
Do it again,
Everything.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll shut this off and then I'll talk to you for a second after.
Okay. I'm gonna say cheerio, everybody, and catch us on the next time. And right. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep waffling. Ta-ra. God bless you. Bye bye.